Hello, everyone, and welcome to the STLTechTalk Podcast. My name is JJ Hammond. We have another great show for you tonight. Are you ready for the top tech news stories of the week, applications that you should try on your favorite gadgets, fun and lively commentary onto the technological industry, and, of course, our very special guest interview. He is the Captain America of Windows Phone and mobility in general. He has extensive oral and written communication, formal briefing, planning documents, teaching, and the like. He is also the extensive knowledge in community organization. He has extensive technological industry experience to include program management, budget and schedule planning, and execution. Also certified in acquisition professional in levels 1 and 2 program management by the Defense Acquisition University and the Department of Air Force, the amazing Rich Dunbar. Hello, Rich.
Hello, JJ.
I know. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's definitely our pleasure. I gotta say, we've said this before the show. We'll say it again. You are a rockin' dude. Thank you so much for being on.
I appreciate you guys having me on, giving me the opportunity to share what's taking place and hear what you're doing as well.
Absolutely. So up first, we're not alone. From the STL Tech Talk team, watch out, it's a Mac. No, it's a PC. Wait, it's Alejandro Ramirez. Say hello, Alejandro.
Hello, guys. How's it going? And I just have to say, this is why I love being in this show. When we interview people like Rich, I'm totally hyped up about having him tonight.
Awesome. Of course. And I am a boat, and I am out at sea adrift without my good friend, partner in crime in all 50 states, and fellow tech enthusiast, editor-in-chief of STLTechTalk.com, producer of Codecast by STL Tech Talk, co-creator of STLTechChic.com, the uncanny Kevin Harvell. Say hello, Kevin.
Oh, look at that, the applause too. Oh, gotta love it, gotta love it.
Yeah, we got to give you a good intro. So how you doing? Are you ready to go?
Doing great. Thank you again, Rich, for joining us this evening.
And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at STLTechTalk, Facebook, Google+, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Go download our Windows Phone 8 app. It's called STL Tech Talk. It's not that hard. Go download it, and you can listen to the show that way as well. Also visit the site where you can listen to the show. Also visit STLTechTalk.com to keep up with our tech news, podcast, Codecast. Find out how you can advertise with us or hire us to consult you on your technological needs. And don't forget, you can contact the show by sending us feedback to podcat@STLTechTalk.com. And if you're watching us live, you can ask us questions via the chat room, and we'll do our best to answer those questions in a timely manner. Special thank yous go out tonight from Kevin and JJ to Jimmy, also to Kiara, also to Amanda, Matt, AM Visual Works, Corporate Collar, Nathan, and the Grillin' Fool, just for all being awesome people and being a part of our STL chat last night. We were on Twitter and did a wonderful, kind of like a Q&A almost, where some listeners and new people wanted to talk about podcasts and all things tech related in St. Louis. So we say thank you for being a part of the process. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully now you're listening to this show. So a shout out to you. Thank you very much. So without further ado, let's get on to the special guest interview segment. Rich, it's been a long time since we've had you on the show. What has happened, and what have you been up to this year?
Well, we've been up to a lot. The ambassador program has really kind of taken off. You guys knew when I started, and it was just me, and now we've got 8 ambassadors around the U.S. and Canada, and they are staying super busy. And we've kind of come into our own. We've had good enough results that before, when we were just Nokia, Microsoft took notice and they began to really partner with us, which gave us some really great opportunities partnering with the TEs and DEs around the country to co-sponsor events, have that additional technical information, developer assistance available, a greater network available to help developers. And so the program has really, really grown. And then now that Microsoft has purchased Nokia, that's been a big deal over the last year. All that's been taking place, the rumors leading up to it, and now it's official. And we all have Microsoft.com email addresses, and so we're getting to see a little different side of things, and still partnering with all of the Microsoft folks. So there's been a lot of growth, a lot of exciting things happen. It's been a busy, busy year.
To say the least. To say the least. I was trying to catch up with what you've been up to on Twitter, and I kind of gave up a little bit. I mean, it's not because I don't care, but there's only so much a guy can do. You know what I mean? I can only catch up with so much of your of the wake that you've left. Kevin, you're up next.
All right, let me get there we go. All right. So, with everything going on with Microsoft and Nokia and DVLUP and all this, I mean, all this stuff going on, what are some of the events that you've been a part of over the last year? Like, what kind of success stories, if any, do you have that you can talk about this evening?
Well, I'd say our biggest events have been DVLUP Days. We've had DVLUP Days now in 9 different cities around the U.S. and Canada. Started at the end of 2013, and we had a fall run, which went extremely well in Boston, Tampa, Sunnyvale, and then up in not Toronto, in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, sure.
Up there. All 4 of those were in the fall of 2013. Great success, and had some partnership with Microsoft, but not as much as we would have liked for our first, big round of DVLUP Days. But it was hugely successful. A lot of people took notice because of the success, particularly in the Boston event on the East Coast, and that garnered a lot of excitement. And we had directors for the TEs and Ds in the various regions calling us and saying, "Hey, can you guys come to a DVLUP Day in our city, in our region? When can you be here? When can you do that?" So our spring 2014 DVLUP Days switched cities, and we moved to New York City, Chicago, Dallas, San Diego, and Toronto. And so we had those 5, which were hugely successful. All the events sold out in registration, had great attendance. Developers came out and made their first apps for many of them, some of them updated apps. We had some developers that were more experienced that came out and simply helped other developers, which at an event like DVLUP Day, it's not a hackathon. It's a coding day where you come and you learn, and we have lots of technical experts there to help you get through your issues and make sure your apps get published so you see some success. And of course, anyone who publishes an app within the 4-week window this last time gets a free Windows Phone 8 device. Nice. So it was a huge payoff, a huge incentive. We had great swag, great time, good events, great talks. And out of it, some of those apps that have been made, you've seen already featured on Windows Phone Central. Just the other day, or not long ago, the WebMD app. It's not an official app, of course. It's a developer's third-party app for WebMD was featured. That guy was at DVLUP Day.
Awesome.
And then we've had some great young developers, as young as 8 years old, build their first apps and get them published in the store, and see some really good success there as well. So
I both love and hate that. Like, I see the little kid and they can outcode me, and I'm like, God, man, if I would just, oh, man.
Yeah, I met one not too long ago in Tampa, and he was pretty hip on his skills, and wow. Wanted to remind me that he thought he could outcode me, and the truth is he probably could. So
yeah, give him a couple of years, he'd be like, interface complete, download complete.
Yeah.
He's rocking it.
Yeah, so we've had some great success stories. We would like to find a means at some point to put the DVLUP Day content out for people who can't attend one, to have access to it. And we may even do that with the next round coming up this fall, have a web version that has all the best talks from DVLUP Day for those who can't get to one of the local areas where we host them, and provide some type of incentive for people who publish apps out of that. So it's still in the works. Don't know how it's going to all pan out, but it's something we're definitely talking about and would love to see. Maybe even hear some feedback from the users out there about what they would like to see.
We'd like to see one in St. Louis. No, because if you did, then we would record it for you, and then you would be able to see the fruits of your labor, sir. But, I'm just throwing that out there. So the other thing is, before the show, we talked a little bit about some big news coming from what's going on with Rich. You're, like I said, you're a fantastic dude. We had you on the show almost a year ago now, and a lot's happened since then. Tell us a little bit about what the big news is for you today.
Well, for me personally, I have some really big news, and I'm super excited about. Anybody who's followed what I've done for the last 5 years knows that I've had a day job and another job, and then I've also done this community, community building, developer recruitment, evangelism. Started off with WebOS for Palm back in 2009, and was kind of a volunteer community evangelist for about 3 years. As it went through the HP time, I did some independent blogging to support some of the HP technologies and things like that. And then when the ambassador program began as a pilot, and you've seen how it's grown, I've done all that part-time in addition to a couple of other jobs. And all the ambassadors, in fact, are part-time folks. And so they work really hard, and it takes a lot for us to be able to do events and travel. Anytime we travel, we all have to take vacation time from our day jobs. And I've just really hoped for the last couple of years that I would at some point have an opportunity to get into the field full-time. And it looks like that's finally taken place with a company called Catchy Agency. If you want to check them out, they're catchyagency.com. And they've actually done a lot with the ambassador program already in develop days. If you received pre-event emails and post-event follow-up emails and device incentive code emails, all those were generated by Catchy Agency. And they help us record metrics and do developer outreach. If you've gotten calls as an iOS developer or as an Android developer, potentially you've talked to somebody from Catchy Agency already. And so I will start work for Catchy Agency in the next week as their full-time outreach manager. And as part of that, I'll also get to continue leading the ambassador program and keep pressing on in that direction too. So I'll stay equally busy. I just have a new full-time day job that is my dream job, and that's supporting developers, reaching out to developers, finding new ways to help developers do more.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations, sir. It couldn't happen to a better guy. I said that before the show, and I truly mean it, and I'm saying it now again because I mean it. That's amazing. I mean, that's really cool, and we were kind of worried about that a little bit. We are a part of the St. Louis Windows Phone Group, and we wanted to make sure that, we didn't want to make sure. We were concerned that program would go away because me and Kevin participated in the Develop program last year. When it was St. Louis Days.net and different stuff like that. So we didn't want to see that enthusiasm, that kind of awesome community outreach that you work so hard for just kind of be either thrown away or done away with or whatever the case may be. So this was really cool.
Well, and some additional good news I have. This is number 2 of 3 pieces of good news.
You heard it here first.
You guys love Develop, and when the ambassador program started officially with all the team members around the U.S. and Canada is the same time that Develop kicked off. And we kind of worked in tandem, side by side, supporting the same cause, and we'd promote what they were doing and try to drive people to develop.com. And for those who are listening, it's DVLUP.com is the site. And a lot of people were concerned with the Microsoft acquisition, what was going to happen in the ambassador program, what was going to happen to Develop. And the good news is Microsoft loves Develop, and they love the ambassador program. And so the ambassador program is being rebranded as no longer the Nokia Developer Ambassador Program, but it's going to be Develop Ambassadors for Windows Phone. And so we're much more integrated in our branding with Develop, and if you continue to watch the page, develop.com website, sometime this week you should see some new additions to the site that will help you find your ambassador and help you know who they are and what they can do for you. So be watching for that. You heard it first here, that we are now Develop Ambassadors for Windows Phone, and I can't wait till you guys come to an event and you get to spot the ambassadors in their very cool Develop Ambassador for Windows Phone shirts.
Oh, I want one.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's tantalizing. I have my Cortana shirt. I just don't have it on right now.
It's a very prestigious role, and we have enjoyed doing it, and we love going places and being recognized by folks and supporting folks. And our new shirts will really make us stand out in the crowd.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Greg Czar, Greg Stoll, I believe. I'm saying his name wrong. My bad. Because I'm bad with names either way. But he's really cool, and he keeps us up to date with what's going on. He's our local ambassador, for this particular area. So yeah, he does a really good job.
Yeah, Greg is phenomenal. He's based in Austin, and right now Greg handles nearly all of the central United States, from almost the Canada border all the way down through Texas. And he's got a huge responsibility, lots of area to cover. And so
he's either a masochist or really loves what he does.
He really loves what he does.
That's
and
awesome.
I've taken a lot of time already, but the third piece that is really new and really exciting is that the Develop Ambassador program being rebranded kind of leaves opportunities for expansion. So Develop Ambassador for something else. And right now, something that we are, in fact, I'm looking for 2 people to become part of the Develop Ambassador team, and they would be known as Develop Ambassadors for Nokia X. So if you have some listeners out there that are experienced Android developers and they have some great apps, some great insight, or they know great developers that are connected to their community, they're excited about the platform, that are willing to get a salary, a T&E budget, demo devices, get to participate in great events like, I would say Build, because that's a possibility, and then of course potentially the AT&T Dev Summit that we go to that runs right up before CES in Vegas.
Yeah.
That would be a great place to have some Nokia X ambassadors helping people port their Android apps over to Nokia X. If there are some people out there who'd like to be a part of a great team and get a very cool shirt that says Develop Ambassador for Nokia X, we would like to welcome some folks like that. And so here for the first time publicly, folks are hearing that that's going to be an expansion of the Ambassador program, and that I'm looking for 2 people. So
just 2 spots.
Just 2 spots for Nokia X right now. And so, it's a great opportunity. If anybody's interested, have them reach out to me on Twitter at Rich Dunbar.
We are going to promote the bejesus out of that for sure. And maybe even hit up the guy who did the MyFitnessPal app. We had him on one of our Codecast shows. He might be interested in something like that.
That's a great thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that he might be a good guy. He's he's crazy intelligent. So Alejandro, you're up next. It's kind of like every other thing that we talk about now after this is kind of like meh, because that was huge news. But Alejandro, you're up.
Yeah, so my question to you, Rich, is as you guys have been great promoters of the Windows Phone 8 platform through the Develop program, what are the most or what kind of changes have you seen around Windows Phone that you would like to highlight?
Well, one of the biggest things is currently the dev preview for Windows Phone 8.1 is out there, and it makes so many great changes to what I thought was already a great platform. But for a long time, one of the big complaints that people had about Windows Phone is it didn't have a proper notification center. And I always said that my personal opinion was live tiles served me well, because there were very few things I really wanted notifications all the time from. But now that I have the notification center in the 8.1 preview, I use it all the time, and I love not missing whatever that little banner pop-up is if I don't have the live tile pinned. And so I think the notification center is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's a great addition, one of the big changes. And I know here in a little bit we're talking about some other things, and I'll save some things for that I'm excited about as well. But Notification Center is huge. Some of the other functionality we have in the newer versions of Windows Phone, like the sensor core technology from Nokia, and some of the processors that actually allow you to use your phone much like a Fitbit or other activity tracking device. It's phenomenal tech, and I'm just really looking forward to where it all goes. And the other big change is that almost weekly we're seeing if you read Windows Phone Central, we're seeing these new big name apps coming to Windows Phone on a regular basis. And some of the networks recently, like History and A&E and Lifetime. Not that Lifetime is big to me, but there are a lot of women who can't live without their Lifetime.
Well, and there's a lot of women, frankly, that like Windows Phone. I mean, there's a lot of women who enjoy Windows Phone as their platform because it's an easy to navigate UI. And I'm not saying that for whatever. I'm just saying that because of the UI and interaction. I'm just saying that. Let's see. How do I crawl out of this hole I just put myself? No. But there's a lot of people. There's a lot of women that like the Windows Phone UI. I know my wife is one of them. I know that a lot of my family members are. Not only because I push it down their throat, but they actually do like it. So, so I think that they definitely enjoy that for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Vikings on my Lumia 15.
Yeah, I gotta say, I love my 1520. I mean, like, I'm not falling this hard for a phone before, and I'm serious. I'm not falling this because I have the 1020 and the 920. But this one's it. I think that 1080p screen. Does it for me for sure. But
so
what kind? Yeah. So what kind of? Let's see. What kind of changes have you seen in the Windows 8 ecosystem? I really wanted to. I mean, because I know we're kind of on a time crunch. So what kind of changes have you seen in the Windows 8 ecosystem? Because a lot of people either love or hate Windows 8, and a lot of it revolves around that start screen. Well, I think with the release of 8.1. Hopefully, a lot of that headache has gone away as far as traditional users that have moved on to the Windows 8 side of things and the modern UI. But what kind of changes have you seen that have been most effective in the Windows 8 ecosystem?
Well, the 8.1 update one has been really good because it added the additional keyboard and mouse functionality that when you're running a Metro app, that I shouldn't call it Metro, a modern app, that you can roll your mouse up at the top and you get a little drop-down title bar with the X button in the top right corner.
I use it daily.
I use it all the time, especially when I'm using a mouse or the trackpad. If I was using the trackpad on my Surface Pro or on my 2520 with the powered keyboard cover, it was so hard without touching the screen to grab an app and drag it down.
Right.
And the X is phenomenal. I love some of the additional functionality. The power button brought back to the start screen is great. I like it being there. I don't want to have to go to the corner and then drop down to the settings and then hit power. So they've made some really good advancements and announced some other ones earlier at Build, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But yeah, some really great stuff.
So how do you feel about their efforts so far, being on the ground level and getting feedback and we'll try to keep this short, but the feedback from Xbox branded services like music, video, and games and all this kind of stuff. So they're trying to. I would think they're trying to build out their platform. Like I use the Reader, Microsoft Reader application, and I use the Sync on my phone. I use the Bing News. The Bing Weather, the Bing Sports, Bing Health and Fitness, and all those kinds of things. So do you see that all really coming together? Do you see a lot of good feedback from that, or what are you hearing?
Well, I mean, I only see what I do on Twitter, what I hear from users, what I see in Windows Phone Central and in the comments section of articles, and I think they're making great strides to improve all those apps. I love the way that they've broken them out so that they can be updated individually.
Right, instead of that hub model. Yeah.
Be improved, so the update cycle is much more frequent, much better. I like the advancements they're making in those areas. It'll take some time to get all the kinks worked out, but I think they're definitely headed in the right direction on every one of them.
Alejandro, you're up, sir.
So you mentioned Build, and I think it's hard to say that the honeymoon period is over. I think people are still talking about Build 2014. There were lots of new things. There were a lot of new surprises in Build 2014. What are your thoughts now that it's been a few months after Build? What do you think?
Well, I love that we still have things to look forward to.
Yeah.
They talked about improvements in Windows 8 that we haven't seen yet. That bringing some type of start menu back and adding live tiles to that. We actually saw what that might look like. It looked very cool. We saw some really cool, Joe on his phone. He had some really cool start screen apps on his Windows phone. and allowing developers to have access to some of that stuff and really create some cool start screen integration. I love that. And then, of course, the universal apps, the ability to build a Windows Phone and a Windows 8 app at the same time using so much shared code is phenomenal. And it opens up a lot of opportunities for both Windows Phone and for developers to bring their app to big Windows. And for people who already have their app on big Windows, then it gives us the opportunity to reach out to them and say, hey, with just a few code changes, you can bring your app to Windows Phone, which always helps the platform. More apps, more developers, more contributions means more users, and it makes it more attractive as a platform.
Yeah, I also think Microsoft is positioning itself differently this time, and I think there were many statements with Satya Nadella's appearance at Build. What do you think of that, too?
Well, I think certainly his background in cloud and enterprise, that's where the money is. And right. when you start giving away your OS on screens smaller than 9 inches, you've got to, and of course, Office is cheap, and when you're practically giving the new Windows versions away as well, you've got to find a way to monetize somewhere. And so I'm excited about the cloud services and where they're going with those things and how they're integrating throughout the platform. And they're really headed in a great direction. Of course, I don't talk rumors because, one, I can't. I don't know anything. And I would just be speaking silly. But code convergence is a huge goal, and it always has been for development. And it sounds like that's where Windows is heading.
Right.
And
I agree.
Without me having to speculate or talk about rumors, they talked about Windows Phone, Windows, and Xbox. Mm-hmm. And that's an exciting thing. And it's exciting for developers, exciting for users, exciting for consumers. So I think there's a lot of great things still yet to come from Build 2014 that we may not even see some of them in place until Build 2015 gets here, or the next build is. So it's exciting stuff to look forward to. Great things have already happened. It was a great event.
So last question, what do you think of the voice assistant Cortana? I'm just going to tell you I love her, so be gentle.
Well, I love Cortana as well, and I've had a couple of opportunities to speak with Cortana program managers.
That's awesome.
They're in Sunnyvale and some of them out of Redmond, and it's amazing how much they're paying attention to what people are saying about what they want from Cortana and about the integration with Cortana. One of the things I shared with the guy when I'm sitting there and we're having some snacks and drinks, and I asked him, when you look at the articles on Windows Phone Central about Cortana, do you read the comments? And he said, well, of course we do. I said, so the number one comment I'm seeing is people want Cortana to say their name.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was hilarious. And he said, oh, yes, we've got a number of posters all around our lab that reminds our entire team that people want Cortana to say their names. And so I won't give away what the poster says, but it's very dangerous. And if you ever get the opportunity to talk to one of those guys, you should ask them about it. But they definitely are paying attention to what users want. People love Cortana, and it's not just geeks. People love the idea of having a really personal assistant, and Cortana's really made leaps and bounds. And I love the way that she's growing over time to be more and more Jen Taylor.
Right.
And to sound
less automated. Yeah, definitely. And also, just real quick, just to get your idea of this, there was a lot of hay made about Cortana being ported to other systems. I don't necessarily think that's what they meant. I saw Cortana being moved to the Windows 8, like integration with Bing and integration with my desktop, so that Cortana could talk to my phone and to my desktop Windows 8 system. That's kind of what I felt would be beneficial.
Well, and I agree. I would love to see Cortana come to both those platforms. I would love to see the notification center come to Windows 8.
Yeah, that's cool.
I would love that. Quick settings, all those kinds of things. At least in the touch interface, for sure.
Right. Right.
I think that would be an awesome thing. But in the end, if Microsoft is porting great technologies out to some of these other platforms and drawing people into using their services,
right.
I think it's a win for Microsoft overall, which helps them continue doing Windows Phone and Windows 8 development and all those sorts of things, making great advancements. But it also helps lure people when they get attached to those services to say, why don't I just move to that platform?
Right.
And so while I have no knowledge one way or another, I'm certainly not opposed to them expanding and getting more people to use Microsoft services. It's a win for everybody.
Yeah, and I could see it on my desktop, Windows 8.1 or Windows 9, whenever it comes out. I could see it on my phone, and I could see it on my Xbox. And if I was able to talk to that system, and that system could communicate to all my devices and knows me, it would make my life easier, I would think. And I think that's the whole point of it, is to have that kind of deep integration with all those different services. And I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be awesome.
Well,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, totally. Well, we can't thank you enough again. That concludes our interview segment of the show. So thank you so much for being on. I know you got to get going, but anytime you have an open door invitation to come on and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Appreciate it, guys. I look forward to it, and hopefully get to see you guys at St. Louis Days of .NET this fall again.
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
Yeah, you will for sure. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you, Alejandro.
You too, Rich. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rich. Bye.
Bye, guys.
So, wow, that was some huge news right there, guys. I mean, we got the Microsoft talk about the DVLUP program and how the DVLUP program is changing from Nokia DVLUP to just DVLUP without the Microsoft or without the Nokia, and how the DVLUP program is reaching out to Android. Very cool stuff. What do you guys? I mean, we're just going to do a quick recap of that interview. Alejandro, I'll go first with you. What are your first impressions from some of that information? I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, here we go, here's Microsoft supporting Android because they're allowing Nokia's it's like their ex-girlfriend, It's like, is going out with some other dude, you know what I mean?
Well, we've seen the convergence of platforms when Mac went with the Intel processor. I think that was a huge step to a parallel universe that came to a common path of sharing resources, and that was huge because that allowed people to run Windows on Macs, which sounds like dogs and cats cuddling together, but what is going on right now is probably just the tip of the iceberg. I would really like to see this expand to other platforms because, we have the phone gaps of the world and whatnot, but I would really like to see that if I am a developer and I pick a language that I love and cherish, I don't want to learn 5, 6 different languages. Just nurture me by giving me choices that I can go to different platforms and just deliver this cool stuff that I can build regardless of what tools I need to use. Here it is. Enjoy content, run it on a virtual machine on whatever device it happens that you love, and just be it, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm totally down with that way of thinking too. And I don't think that it's a bad deal because the more you get people in there and you're like, you know what? I'm developing for Android, but what if I was to write my code in such a way that I could port it on over to Windows Phone easily? I mean, why not do that? I mean, because we're going to talk about it a little bit later in the show about the numbers, but Windows Phone is not making the stuff. We were on a chat last night with people in and around the St. Louis area, and a lot of them talked about we want more Android news and iPhone news, and you know what? That's just the way that it is. If there's a way to show that there is a third player in this ecosystem, the only way to do it is if you're telling people, hey, while you're developing those applications, it wouldn't hurt to put it on, millions of other devices. So I think this is all good. Kevin, what's your thoughts on the recap of that wonderful interview?
That was just amazing. I'm just sitting here like posting out all this stuff, and it's like, wow. At first I was like, well, how do you spell catchy? And then I quickly looked it up. I'm like, spelled with a C, just like catching a baseball, catchy. I'm wow, that's huge news. And I mean, how lucky we are that he shared that news with us tonight on the STLTechTalk Podcast.
Bam.
There we go.
Kevin, get us started with the news rundown, sir.
All right. Let's see. Since the show notes are a little different than normal. All right. Well, first thing I want to talk about is people watching the video. You can see there's an LG G Watch in my hand and on my wrist.
And on his wrist.
Yes, on my wrist. So yeah, that showed up this afternoon, and I've only had a very short amount of time to kind of like play around with it and get it set up. But it's pretty wild. I mean, just being able to, press the screen and start reading or start speaking out, text JJ Hammond, whatever the message is, and then it just goes right over there with my phone just sitting on my desk, no problems whatsoever.
It was pretty cool. He showed me and he texted me before
beat me up, Scotty.
I know, right?
Like I said, I've only had a very short amount of time, but definitely be looking for a full review from STLTechTalk, and because it's pretty wild. I mean, I am having to switch back to my Nexus 4, which I have no complaints about. So we're gonna have a whole lot more information about that, and everybody in the group's gonna get to try this thing out for a little while and.
Even you, Alejandro.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta give it back. I mean, it's one of those things where it's not you gotta give it back.
Yeah. Real quick.
Yeah. If you give it to me, you might not get it back. That's all I'm saying.
We did have one question over in the Q&A. It's not really a question, but yes, Brandon H. Rich Dunbar is the man. You are right. He is awesome. Thank you, Rich, for everything.
He is the man. He made us all want to be Android developers just to work with him. He's freaking awesome.
Just like right now. It's like,
okay, you know what? What can we do? What can we set aside to make this happen? No, the next thing that I wanted to talk about real quick was in the future, we're going to look down, and kids are going to be looking at their wrist going, okay, beam me to such location. I'm going to be like, back in the day, we had to tell our watch to do things, and we couldn't beam ourselves, and we had to drive cars to get to where we wanted to go.
Yeah, now you just get in the car and it drives you or flies you, whichever.
Whatever. Whatever's in. So, Kevin, other than, showing off the fact that you have a new device, why don't we go ahead and go with your next story?
All right, police dogs. Now, we all know what police dogs, a lot of police forces around the area, they've spent a lot of money training various dogs, generally they're German Shepherds, to, whether they sniff out drugs or track missing children, missing people, and just all sorts of different things. Now, how this is all tied into technology is that police dogs are being trained to sniff out hard drives. So I saw the story over on The Verge earlier today, and what these K9 units are being trained to do is to search for like memory cards, USB drives, hard drives, just things like that. And what this is intended to do is to help track down child pornographers. It's just wrong, just wrong. And unfortunately, it's in the news all the time. People getting busted with stuff on their computer, or it's on their phone, or it's just so rampant. So these dogs are being trained to do that out in currently in Rhode Island and Connecticut, and probably other places. But those were the two states that the short little stories talked about.
Wow.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on the Alejandro?
Well, as a father of a young child, that's great to hear, because there's that is a big problem. I think there's a lot of bad people out there in the world that take advantage of little kids who cannot stick it for themselves, and so anything that helps the cause to solve or try to diminish these types of problems, I think that's something that deserves any support from all fronts, and so if they came and say we need to donate some money, sure, I'll be more than doing that. There's lots of stories of how rings get uncovered, and so I think by doing something like this, by training these dogs to do that, I mean, I cannot even begin to think how the heck they managed to do this. I'm thinking, hey, is this dog going to be able to say, hey, half of your MP3s are not from your CD collection? It's like, how the hell did this dog know that? Oh, sorry. Bleep.
No.
But yeah, no, it's just a sign of the times. I think that there's a lot of crime that goes unnoticed, and so all the power to you guys. Yeah, my support for that for sure.
So a little bit of local news. Rams are actually going to use a social app that Kevin and I was going to build before Matt Seebeck got a hold of it. It's called Cast. It's castapp.co if you want to go check it out. And essentially what it is, it allows Apple users to create micro polls through existing social networks like Facebook and Twitter. Essentially, they're going to be able to, the Rams through this app are going to be able to utilize it to see the fans' experience on everywhere from outlets and real-time feedback to custom special like giveaways, stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting because Kevin hit me up and he goes, "Hey, I have an idea." And I was like, "Man, that's a wonderful idea." And then a couple days ago, he sent me this link, and I'm like, "Hey, Kevin, that was your idea." And we were like, "Oh!" But then I saw this article from Brian Felt here at the Biz Journal, and it turns out that it was Matt Seebeck, and we actually had him on this very show, the STLTechTalk Podcast, to talk about his Rookies app. So I'm not saying that he stole it from us or anything.
Of course not. Nah.
Great minds think alike.
Great minds think alike. So congratulations, sir, on that application. If you need somebody to develop the Windows Phone app, we will do that.
If you need help getting it elsewhere, let us know.
If you want to port it over to Windows Phone, let us know. We will be more than happy to take that off your hands. My story is Microsoft is rumored to release the Lumia 1525 for T-Mo and AT&T. This is a rumor that's I'm going to kind of compound with some other ones about finally bringing more high-quality Windows higher inside devices to more carriers. Now, I'm telling you, I've never fallen in love with the phone as much as I have with this 1520. I cannot get enough of it. It's the best phone that I've owned, and I have an Nexus 5. I got an iPhone. I've got all that kind of jazz. But it hands down is the best. I think its speediness, its responsiveness, and the fact that this device is going to be able to be brought to different carriers in a new form, because it's this is the 1520. That's going to be the 1525 rumored device. So I'm really looking forward to this. What are your guys' thoughts on this story? Kevin, you go first.
All right, first up, I kind of caught some wind of this over earlier this weekend where they mentioned it was just, I think it was on WP Central or somebody had kind of talked about it, that it was rumored to only be a T-Mobile exclusive. But lately, the last day or two, as you see with this story you linked to is from yesterday. There's talk that it might come to AT&T and Verizon as well. So this could be the successor to the 1520. And like you said, I've got a 1520 myself. It's an amazing device. If somebody's interested in Windows Phone and wants to get their high-end device, it's either a 1520 or the Lumia Icon. And I took some pictures of fireworks Saturday night. I dropped the ISO setting down to 100. I mean, I don't know nothing about photography, but this 20-pixel camera was amazing. I mean, if you check out my Instagram, I think it's Kevin_Harvey. Just check out the one firework shot that I posted. I've got others to post, but it's amazing. It's a beautiful shot. It's just an amazing device.
Alejandro?
I'm just stoked. I mean, I remember when the 1520 came out, even though I'm an iPhone user, I actually went to Best Buy just to see the darn thing because I thought, man, this thing sounds too good to be true. And as maybe if the viewers don't know, I actually won this through a Microsoft Store promotion not too long ago. It's a 1520, and I'm just in love with this device. I honestly, when I saw that there is a 1525 coming out, I'm like, how can you possibly make this better? This is perfect. This is an awesome device. I'm sure there's going to be something that they're going to do to it. I'm particularly curious about what the partnership with Canon that's going to do, because if you remember, the predecessor to the 1520 was the 1020 with its really heralded 41 megapixel camera, which takes amazing pictures. I love photography. The 1520 has a 20 megapixel camera, and it takes fantastic photos. That's one of the things I love the most. Every time I show pictures on this thing, people are like, holy cow. I mean, I could be the next J.J. Abrams just with this thing. And so just the fact that they're coming up with something so soon under the same brand, I'm sure they are pigging back on its success, on its wonderful features. So, man, I'm probably going to be back to the store again just to check it out and see what that is about.
Alejandro, you're up with the next story, and let's sprinkle some Apple news in here, why don't we?
Well, so earlier we were talking about the different wearables. Kevin just showed off his LG wearable, and so there's this fuss about, because Apple just hired 2 former Nike field band engineers. These guys were laid off. There was a cutback about a year ago in Nike of the field band brand, and Apple just hired these 2 guys. The rumor iWatch is supposed to be all about fitness and medical purposes, and for those of you following the iOS 8 beta leaks, you can totally see where this is going. There's heart rate monitoring and the traditional pedometer. There's caffeine consumption, calorie consumption. So there's probably going to be all kinds of interesting things in the iWatch. And when they bring people of this caliber, because Nike is famous for hiring top-notch engineers to work on their products, anything from the shoe brand to this other technologies. So I'm just, man, when you said, yeah, the LG 2 is coming out, yeah, but there is the iWatch coming out too, and I want to know what that is about. So I'm just going nuts. I can't wait for this thing to be announced and see what's going to happen. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think I'm going to go up first. Sorry, Kevin. I think that if they go with the Sapphire, I watched this video on how strong that Sapphire is, and it works as a screen. If they go with that on like a watch or a fitness band, dude, whoa. You know what I mean? I'm super stoked, and I think that the new form factor, the 4.7-inch display, is going to have a lot of people jump ship from Android back on over to iOS. You know, because even though it's expensive, you can kind of sort of count on it, you know what I mean? As far as a stable, like, you know what, if I'm going to give my money to somebody, it might as well be these guys, because I'm always going to be it's going to cost an arm and a leg or whatever, but I can be a part of it. And for those who that's not a problem for, then absolutely. And I think that the integration that we're going to see from Apple and from the new device that's obviously coming out is going to be pretty hot stuff. Yeah. Kevin, you're up. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I know the video you're talking about. MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee over on YouTube. Amazing technology reviewer and just video guy. I think he was, really putting that Sapphire display, because he's got an actual screen, not the device itself, but just the screen. And I mean, he was really putting all kinds of punishment to it. And if it can withstand that punishment, I mean, all these broken iPhones you see everywhere you go every day, or possibly could be a thing of the past to a point. And I mean, I think that's good, because it's one of the biggest issues I think with iPhones is how fragile those screens are.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the best undocumented features is how good they are at breaking. Everybody has their. I mean, the iPhone by itself, if you look at it, is a masterful piece of engineering. It's
beautiful. Beautiful.
It's great, but everybody has them wrapped in this ugly, thick,
outer box cases and all that other stuff.
And you have to, because you drop them from this height. I dropped an iPad from this height, and the thing shattered like I would have dropped it from 10 foot.
Right.
I mean,
Like
it was just
plate glass window.
it's just crazy. So yeah,
and
I really hope
Gorilla
they put
Glass 3. I mean, that stuff's supposed to be pretty tough, but
oh yeah.
no,
it's not. No, it's not at all. Kevin, you're up with your next story.
All right. Now, back in episode 34 of the STL Tech Talk podcast, we had Steve Young on from Cynic Draft System. So it's kind of like a Keurig machine for your counter that dispenses draft beer. Nice ice cold draft beer, whatever temperature you want it to be. They recently launched their Kickstarter program. They're looking for a Kickstarter campaign, trying to raise $250,000. Now, this was about 15 days ago that this launched, and they are currently, as of earlier today, they already met their goal, and they're up to $361,000. So,
boom,
good job, Steve, and the rest of the Cynic draft team.
They got the STL Tech Talk bump. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, that's awesome. I mean, seeing local St. Louis and entrepreneur. Nice piece of technology. I mean,
great guy.
I like beer. Tonight's a Shock Top Lemon Shandy. So, but with the Cynic, you'll be able to pretty much order virtually any draft beer from any participating brewer, craft brewery that wants to participate in this. You got your bags. The brewery will have their bags. They can ship you a gallon of your favorite draft beer right to your door, just by simply ordering it from your phone or from the internet. I mean, that's awesome. So we'll have a link to the Kickstarter in the show notes. So go, you got 15 days to help support them.
Also, I actually saw this article on Engadget. Now, there are a lot of people who still check out Engadget, so it was kind of cool to see. It was like, hey, that dude there that's like on that like I had him on, like we had him on the show. That is fantastic.
Yeah. He was on the STL Tech Talk podcast before he was on Mashable, before he was on Engadget.
I know, yeah, that was it. I saw it on Mashable, then I saw it on Gadget, then I saw it a bunch of other places, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah,
we
it's picked up a lot of nationwide publicity.
Well, I mean, we're not just saying that because we want to hop on the, hey, I know him by proxy or whatever, but we're saying that because that's awesome, because it's a great idea. It was developed very well, engineered very well, and it totally has to relate to tech just because of the integration that it's gonna have with technology and being able to get
Yep. One of my favorite pieces of that podcast, because I had the privilege of being there with you guys.
Yes, you were. You were there.
It's just how good of an example his process of going to get this product out is for those of you who are entrepreneurs and are on the fence of how do I get started? I have an idea. I don't know what to do. If you remember, Steve said himself, I know nothing about manufacturing or beer crafting. I like beer, or maybe he doesn't like that beer that much, but he said, I have this great idea. How do I take this idea from concept to a product out the door? And I think that it's a great case study that should be in MBA books in the future, because the way he went at it, the way he procured the resources to build this idea, it's worth all of you who are getting on this path to research and honestly reach out to him. He's such a down-to-earth guy. I'm sure he'll get back to you on Twitter.
Yeah. I've got one other thing to say about Steve. Steve was gracious enough to come out a few weeks after our episode to I'm a member of the Jefferson County Homebrewers Club. I don't know how to brew. I just like to consume. Sorry. Maybe one day. I'll learn developing and brewing at the same time. But no, he was gracious enough to bring a prototype of the Cynic system out to the June Homebrew Club meeting. I mean, he was great. I mean, he hung around for 30, 45 minutes, took questions, gave a nice presentation, and it got a lot of good feedback from the 20, 25 members that were in attendance.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
It was good. So definitely great guy, great product. Congratulations for Steve and the rest of the team.
Now that we talked about beer, let's talk about numbers. Because, when you look at a beer, sometimes, depending on how you're feeling, you want to know the percent of a certain kind of chemical that's in that beer. You're up, Alejandro.
Yeah, well, Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking about that, but so
Alejandro's thirsty.
well, if you're talking about numbers, let me talk about my story about numbers. So the mobile market share numbers as of July 2014 are out. If you think in terms of operating system domination, Android has 52.1%, and that's no change from last month. Apple rose to 41.9%, a slight increase. Microsoft with 3.4% had no change. However, BlackBerry and Symbian with 2.3 and 0.1% respectively had a decrease in their market share. From the handset, from the manufacturing of devices, Apple has the lead with 41.9%. Samsung has the second spot with 27.8%. LG is a distant third with 6.5%, followed closely by Motorola with 6.3%, and
Wow.
then not too far away from that, HTC with 5.1%.
Wow, Kevin, what's your thoughts on these numbers, man?
Yeah, I really would love to see HTC and Motorola and LG have higher market share numbers because we've got the G3 coming out from LG. The G2 was an awesome device. The G Flex was an awesome device. A little quirky with that curved display and stuff, but still, I mean, it was a solid device, great battery life, etc. Motorola had a really nice hit on their hands with the Moto X last year. The Moto G and the Moto E, nice budget phones for people looking for affordable devices that can still hold their own in the smartphone world. And HTC, of course, with the HTC One, the M7, and this year's M8. God, why people? Those are great devices. Don't fall for the.
I know, but it's one of those things. We've reached this point.
Advertising.
Yeah, no, but
Yep.
I'm serious. I think we've reached this point where we're such a disposable society that Samsung is the one who's just giving you what you need to get by, and the retailers are doing their job and just putting devices in people's hands. Hey, I think my cousin has. Yeah, he has one of those. Why don't we just put it in your hand? Sale done. Boom, gone. It's one of those things like, hey, I'm interested in Apple, but I kind of want something a little bit bigger. Oh, okay, so you want a Samsung Galaxy S5? Boom, done, sold. Boom, gone. So I'm thinking about that. You want an Apple. It's one of those things where it's like there's that comfort level as well as what these retailers are pushing. We've had on reps from Verizon, we've had on reps from AT&T, and coming at it from a sales angle, I mean, it's just easier if somebody walks in the door and they have a kind of a preconception, you just build on that and then sell them on it. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that's what they do.
Yeah, that's the easy sale.
Just to put it one way, I look at the Samsung S5, I look at the Lumia 1520, and I look at my iPhone, and I'm like, why? Why don't we have something better? Why is there this technology out there, and we don't have that in the freaking iPhone?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, real quick, I don't want to knock Samsung. I mean, I bought a Samsung Galaxy S3 on launch day when US Cellular had it here in St. Louis. I mean, Samsung devices are great.
No,
there's so much software. I don't need all that software.
Yeah.
You can remove it, but yeah.
Yeah. And that huge advertising budget. Me and a guy on a forum got to a silly argument because he didn't believe that one of the biggest things about Samsung, yes, they make great devices, but one of the biggest reasons for their success is their advertising budget.
Yep.
If you were to go to a major metropolitan area, poll 1,000 people, when you think Android, what kind of phone do you think of? They're going to say Galaxy. The huge majority are going to say Galaxy.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely. Alejandro, finish us off with the last news story about cars and 4G LTE.
So this is something that really shocked me when I read it. Chevrolet, or Chevy for the bodies, the guys in the club, is going to. It actually started already offering built-in 4G LTE Wi-Fi. Yes, Wi-Fi branded as OnStar 4G LTE Wi-Fi in their vehicles. It is available already in the 2015 Chevy Malibu and the Chevy Impala. It's coming up with a dozen or more vehicles like the Spark, the Sonic, the Cruise, the Trax, the Equinox, the Tahoe, the Suburban, the Colorado, and the Silverado.
Cool.
Now, here's the catch. If you don't know what OnStar is that really cool service that lets you pick up the phone, and if you are lost, they will satellite you into your car and say, you just have to go this way, or if something's wrong with your car, they can remote into your car and diagnose your car and tell you what's wrong with your car. It's pretty cool. My in-laws have it, love it.
My parents got
now with this. The catch is it's not included with your OnStar service. It's separate, but if you purchase it, you get your first 3 months for free or your first 3 gigabytes for free. It's your choice. After that, the plans are going to be around the lines of, if you are a OnStar subscriber, you get a break, and that's $5 for 200 megs, 15 a month for 1 gig, 30 a month for 3 gigs, and 50 a month for 5 gigs. And this is up to 7 devices on your mobile hotspot in your car. So, you know, those long trips of, are we there yet? Are we there yet? No more, are we there yet? If you're a non-subscriber, the prices are for the plans that I say 10, 20, 30, and 50. So not at all that more expensive. So it also is coming to Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. You will post the link to OnStar.com and where to find this, but just search for OnStar 4G LTE Wi-Fi. Already available, more models coming soon. So conspiracy theories or whatever, what do you guys think? Wi-Fi in your car?
I think it's a great service, and I could see a lot of people getting a lot of use out of it that have families. Like,
Right.
I don't see myself getting a lot of use out of it, but I definitely see this being a family type of gig where it's kind of like a bring your own device type thing. You get into, iPods, iPads, tablets, phones, whatever the case may be, is you hop in the car and then you're clicked on and you're on the net, and the kid stops, making all crazy noise or whatever, and everybody's happy. Mom's
flashy
reading
lights.
pictures. Yeah, look, flashy lights. Yeah. So this is one of those things, and I just I want to backtrack a little bit. Also, Apple, I believe, didn't they get a hold of the guy who did like some other watch? I want to say like the Swiss watches or something like that. I don't know. They got somebody else from a big high level position.
Tag Heuer, isn't it? Yeah. Tag Heuer.
Yeah.
Watch or
Yeah. Anyways,
Swiss watch manufacturer. Yeah.
Yeah. There was. You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so Kevin, your final thoughts on
Switzerland.
the story. Your
What?
final thoughts on the story, Kevin.
let's see it again. I think it's neat. I mean, when I first bought my Pontiac Grand Prix, years and years ago, it came with a free year of OnStar and, of course, the XM radio. I mean, I used OnStar just a couple times. I don't lock myself out of my car, so I never had to call them. But it's neat. Like if you're in some random place, and this, of course, before the advent of smartphones and everything were really popular. You just push the button. I need directions on how to get back to or get to some certain place, and the representative will come on the speaker, and there you go. Or you can make cellular phone calls using it. If you had an emergency, press the emergency button. So I think having this within the car, a 4G LTE signal, Wi-Fi and all that, I think, like you said, it's going to be great for families. A single person, I don't know if it's going to be really worth it, but I'm not the use for that.
If it's incentive, and I'm only doing this because AT&T has been a great supporter of 4Show, but for existing AT&T customers, there are 4G LTE equipped GM vehicles that can be added to your mobile share plan for only $10 more a month.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to start seeing a lot more brand new Chevrolet vehicles get purchased here in the next few months.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna hack. Yeah. Somebody's gonna hack a car, and it's gonna become a whole thing. So that is the end of our regular news segment. Thank you all for participating. Again, if you want to find out more information, go to our website as well as email us at podcast@stltechtalk.com so that we can get some information from you. Another quick shout out to unnamed sources, but we can be expecting a Windows 8 device that's around 8 inches that has the Lumia branding that's running RT. So be looking out for that as a possibility in the future. I know Mary Jo Foley says that it's not happening, but we got a couple of sources saying that something's going to happen about it. Also, we wanted to talk about our announcements and our application picks of the week. Kevin, you're up with your first application pick, sir.
The one that I'm going to go with, since we got the LG Watch, I'm running my Nexus 4 again, so I'm back on Android device. So I'm using the Android Wear app to find apps that are compatible with working with the LG Watch. And I mean, it's as simple as installing the Android Wear app. You open it up, and it tells you, hey, you can go specifically to the Google Play Store and find apps that work with your Android Wear device. And I found, I think it was 33 or 35 are available as of right now, just by quickly punching that up. I mean, things like Google Maps, Google Keep, Duolingo, Lyft. Lyft is one.
No kidding.
So hopefully Lyft gets approved here in St. Louis, and we can use that.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe, definitely, maybe.
So yeah, there's a bunch of things, and like I said, there's a lot more that I need to delve into and spend some time with this. We're going to talk a little bit more about this next week. So
awesome.
Some time spent with it.
So I'm up next. I'm going to go a little out of order just because there's a little story behind it. The STLTechTalk app is available for Windows Phone, soon to be for Windows 8, and in the next coming weeks for Android, and hopefully after I talk to Alejandro and conning him into doing one for iOS. No, the other guy.
This Alejandro?
Yeah. So definitely everybody go download that app. Again, thank you, Andy Long. You're the best. You rock, man. Thank you so much for getting the app done. It looks gorgeous. Everybody can go download it now that has a Windows Phone. Yeah. Funny thing, last night. Yeah, give us feedback. Give us feedback about anything, frankly. I really don't care. Just give us feedback. But last night, I thought it would be a good idea to start moving some file rounds on our server, and we deleted them all, so the site was down for a little while. They were just gone. Like, all the files for the site were just gone. And JJ and Kevin, well, more so JJ was freaking out a little bit, and then I got it working again right around, I would say, 2 o'clock in the morning this morning, and then I went to our app just to hurt myself a little bit more, and guess what? The app says it crashed. So I was like, all right, awesome. So I had to go back in and fix what I had broken. So the app is now functional, and it works, and everything's just fine. But I was a little bit tired this morning after laying down right around 3:30 this morning. So Alejandro, sir, you are up with your application pick of the week.
Well, I have a favorite site called Coupon Cabin.
Okay.
And Coupon Cabin allows you to subscribe to notifications on their website for things like Dell computers and Apple and clothing, and it's pretty much anything you can think. Now, there are lots of coupon websites out there. I think this is one of those who they really go and validate whose coupons are still available, and they have a ranking that says, hey, this is how many people have been able to use this coupon, and so you can track them every day or subscribe to the notifications. I just downloaded their app on my iPhone, which just died because of lack of battery charging. I'm a wall hogger. And
can't you just physically swap out a battery with that? Oh, that's right. No, sorry.
No. So, but the Coupon Cabin app for iOS, I don't necessarily know if it's available on other devices, platforms, but on the iPhone case, it allows me to set up push notifications to know if, let's say, I'm looking for a Dell refurbished laptop, and you will be wondering, why is a Mac guy looking for Dells? That's a long story. So you can subscribe for notifications, and it's pretty handy. The other app that I wanted to talk about really quickly is my personal app, Maestro flashcards for people who like to learn music. We just pushed an update for the Windows Phone. My Lumia also happens to be dead, so it seems to be the night of the dead phones.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
I just use the heck out of this phone, so they die constantly. But anyway, Maestro Windows Phone Edition was just released with version 1.1, which enables people to try it without buying it. So if you guys have thought about it but didn't want to pay, you can try it out. Full feature, limited set of flashcards. I will love to hear feedback. Honestly, if any viewer downloads it and watches it and then sends me some feedback, I'll buy you a coffee. So it's out there.
A lot of things. You heard it here, folks. Alejandro will buy you some coffee.
Right.
So very cool, and we definitely don't do enough to promote your app. So again, that's Maestro flashcard.
That's right.
And go download it right this second, right now, as you're listening. Right?
Ipso facto.
Going up.
If you're listening to it on your phone, don't do the Anyways, so to wrap this up, we want to do our announcements of the week. First and foremost, if you're into gaming or a gamer, go and check out the podcast. It's now on our site. If you go underneath the games tab with an exclamation point, because they need it, it's Dangerously Smart. It's not a podcast for children, but it is an awesome podcast nonetheless. I think it's hilarious, and they really do a funny and good job talking about everything from pop culture to comics to gaming. They do a really good job, and we partnered up with them, and we're really going to work together to bring it. So it's very cool stuff, very exciting. So go check them out. Alejandro, what announcements do you have, sir?
Well, I'm making this announcement. It's a bit early. It's about an event coming in September of this year to St. Louis, to the Ballpark Village, or brand new super cool Ballpark Village. We'll be the host of Startup Voodoo, and this is a conference focused on Midwest entrepreneurship. It's not St. Louis entrepreneurship, and the reason why they're focused on Midwest is because they are seeing all of these joint forces from Chicago and through Ohio and Missouri and Kansas. They're seeing that all of this is going on, and so they're trying to make the same thing that South by Southwest did for Austin, the Austin area, to replicate that effect in St. Louis. So if you have a startup or you have an idea, there are lots of great speakers that are going to be there. One of the keynote speakers is the president of Square, who's from St. Louis, and
Jim McKelvey.
Thank you. They're going to have a lot of great speakers, but there's going to be a lot of emphasis on those of you who are on the startup scene. There's going to be a contest. I will personally write an article to cover more about the details. So if you're interested, we'll be posting more about that in our STLTechTalk.com website blog. So stay tuned, because this is coming. The reason I'm bringing it up is you probably need to sign up early so it doesn't fill up, because startup scene in St. Louis is hot, baby.
So first thing, guess who's the official press for the event? STLTechTalk.
We'll be there.
Heyo, we're going to be there, and we're going to be interviewing people, talking to people, recording the sessions. We're going to be ingrained. So, guys, there's going to be tons of stuff coming from this, and Strange Loop, and StLouisDays.net. So we're going to be everywhere. We're going to be happening with the happening. Also, that's in the St. Louis Ballpark Village on September for Startup Voodoo, focused on the Midwest entrepreneurship. That wraps up the STL Tech Talk show. Kevin, do you have any final thoughts before we close tonight?
No, I definitely want to let everybody. I want to thank everybody for listening over the months, weeks. We're on episode 41. We're heard in over 35 countries. Thank you, everybody, everywhere, for listening.
Yes,
spread the word. Tell a friend. Tell 5 friends. Tell 10 friends. And just because we're STL Tech Talk doesn't mean that we don't want to talk about tech going on in your area. If you've got something that's really cool going on in your neck of the woods, whether you're East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, North, South, even in Europe, anywhere in the world, if you got something great going on in tech in your area, let us know about it. Email us podcast@stltechtalk.com, and maybe we'll talk about it on a future episode.
That's right.
Absolutely. We're also going to have some future stuff tomorrow. We're talking with Rich Campbell from .NET Rocks. Next week, I believe we're talking to Sam Sullivan from TrackBill. And we're also going to be talking with Daniel Gary, who's working on the official app for QuizUp for Windows Phone. And we're also going to be talking to, oh my gosh, there's just tons of people. Go to our site, check it out, upcoming events. I'll have it posted there and put up there. We just have a lot of shows lined up. We are booked all the way till the end of September with Codecast, this show that we do also in our brother sister show or whatever. That's Codecast by STL Tech Talk. So if you're into programming and stuff, go check that out too. So again, guys, thank you both for being on this evening. I had a blast. Thank you again, Rich Dunbar, for being on the show. You were a phenomenal guest. You did fantastic. You are fantastic. And that was some awesome news that you dropped on our show, so thank you so much for being a part of it. So thank you to all of our fans. We love you, and thank you for your support of the show. So from the entire STL Tech Talk crew, stay frosty. We're out.